Buying a Wichita home is a hedge against inflation. Let me tell you why. But before we get into all that, please like, comment, subscribe, share. All those fun things really help grow the channel, help you get to know Wichita, real estate, our community, all those fun things that really help educate you on this process, not just try to sell you and slam you into a house and that whole kind of thing. Because the thing is about real estate, it's about strategy. It's about proper planning and process more than it is about some tricky sales process on everything. But I got two things to kind of go over. This one ain't going to be a real long one, but it's going to be valuable. So, first one of why buying a Wichita home is a hedge against inflation is that a fixed rate mortgage keeps your monthly payment stable. And that's really true in any house across the nation, but more so, I would say, from studying not just our market, but other markets, is how stable Wichita is. And what I mean by that is we don't really see like the giant swings up like you see on the coast, but you don't see the giant swings down either on the coast. And generally speaking, like our values stay pretty steady as far as your fixed rate mortgage, and then also just what you can come to expect as far as your house goes. We have seen quite rapid appreciation in the last 4 to 5 years, like everywhere in the nation has. But as far as the culture of Wichita and the houses and the style of situation around here, it's a very stable place. To some, that may be boring. It's peaceful. It's not dramatic, but it is a stable place to hedge against inflation. So if you're looking for somewhere that you're trying to keep your costs affordable in a stable place, like Wichita is a good place for that, because we don't see the big influx and outflux like you do in other major markets, because we don't have geography, we don't have weather like some of the other more desirable places, but we're steady, but we're stable. Kind of salt of the earth, just good old Wichita, Kansas. So very stable. Same thing with your fixed rate mortgage stays there. Taxes and insurance has been a thing lately, but there is always a way to fight that as far as insurance companies go. And then same thing with your taxes around here. So if you're looking for somewhere where you can like cash out from the East Coast, West Coast, or other bigger markets and then come settle back down in Wichita, Wichita is a good place for that to hedge against inflation. And then the number two one I would say is that you own an asset that's a good place to store cash value at about 6 to 8% appreciation on average in Wichita. Now, some people would call that a good investment. I say it's an okay investment. It's a good store of value. And typically, you got to pay to live somewhere, whether that's a monthly mortgage payment or if you're like a lot of my clients who move from out of state to Wichita, they sell their house, let's say Denver as an example, for 600,000. They still owe 300,000. They cash out for 300K, and they basically just take that and they come to Wichita, they buy a bigger house, and they don't have a monthly payment anymore as far as mortgage goes. But then they own an asset that's going to continue to increase in 6 to 8%. So to actualize their equity in another market, like Colorado, or like one that I'm talking to recently that's moving from California, listing their house April 1st, and they're looking to just buy about a $300,000 house cash from selling their property out there, offering contingent here. And they look at, they're retiring also this year is what they're looking at. And we got together ahead of time. We're storing the value, or we're planning to store their value of what they got for the equity in a solid house here. And that's where the construction background really comes in for when I help you to look for houses, because it's not just, hey, how pretty are they? How Instagram worthy are they? It's, are they in good shape as far as like the roof goes, the mechanicals go, the foundation. That's a thing in Kansas. You got to worry about basements cracking and moving and heaving. And online, they just show you the pretty pictures. They don't necessarily show you everything that's involved there, which you'll see on some of my other videos of the listing tours that I do to kind of show you all the nitty gritty ins and outs of houses, not just the pretty stuff. I'll show you anything and everything and really help you thoroughly evaluate this purchase decision, not just from an asset standpoint of is it going to appreciate and that, but a lot of what that comes down to is it already in good shape as far as those big major ticket items. If it's smaller items, you know, those are easier to manage and come with, and you kind of need to expect those when it comes to owning a house, because no house is perfect and no house is not going to have issues with it. And part of hedging against inflation or your increased costs is making sure this thing isn't going to, you know, cost me a fortune when it comes to roof, mechanicals, foundation, any of those big ticket items. Now, if you want to get into upgrades and some of those other things, a lot of those are what I'd call more just because you want it type of projects. Um, and it is a good place to put your cash. I'm not saying it's not a good place to put your cash in your house. Just don't overfix your house necessarily for the market of your neighborhood specifically. Or it's kind of like if you do want to do that, I'm not saying don't do it. It's just it's a because you want it type of thing. You don't always necessarily want to expect an entire ROI on the money you put back in your house, except for a few projects on it. But it is a good place to put your money, to put your cash if you have excess and you're wondering what to do with it, where to do with it. Because there are other better investments that make 9, 10, 11, 12%, which are purely money making initiatives. There's no tangible benefit and value that you can use personally until you pull it out. Then you got to pay taxes and gains and all the other things that go with that. Whereas with your house, if you put the money into your house, at least you get to enjoy what you're doing with that. So let's say you got new floors, you got a new deck, or you had a master bathroom addition. At least you get to enjoy that. That's making 6 to 8% gains. Whereas when you put it into the financial markets, you're literally just putting it in the financial markets to turn over money to make more money. And there's really no enjoyment in that because there's no use of it other just to make more money. And then you only get to enjoy it when you pull it out. So that's one thing to consider with real estate and investing in your house, remodeling your house, is that you actually get to enjoy the investment and use it physically, tangibly in person, as opposed to arbitrary numbers that don't really do anything for you until you pull it out and use it to spend on something. But then as soon as you pull it out, there goes your investment. Whereas with the house, you can put the money into it and enjoy it, but then it also continues to appreciate because you didn't have to pull it out of your house, you put it into your house. So hopefully that one makes sense. That one's a little harder to comprehend depending on your mental acuity level. But those are the two reasons I got for why buying a Wichita home is a hedge against inflation, especially with just the cost of everything continuing to go up. And it seems like, yeah, I'm getting to be that guy where it's like, oh man, the cost of everything's just getting so expensive now. I was like, I'm not old enough for that, but apparently I am. So there's that. But hopefully this helps you learn a little bit more about Wichita real estate. A market, if I can help you at all with moving to the area, getting another area, I'd love to do so. Shoot me a message down below at my website, and we'll just kind of go from there. And I look forward to talking to you soon. See ya.